Hey guys, it's Anime Elephant here, and this is what Naruto had Ice Release Part 7, and so I hope you guys enjoy. Nothing much for me to say before the video starts, so without further ado, roll the intro. Time skip. 3 weeks. Naruto is now currently taking a break to simply take a walk around Konoha. The past 3 weeks he'd been intensely training with Haku. The main thing that they did was a high-speed spar, as Haku called it. Basically, it was a normal spar, only taijutsu, and performed at full speed. They only stopped until after one person tired themselves out. Unfortunately, the person who usually tied out first was Naruto. That was only because Haku was a lot faster and he couldn't use any of his ninjutsu. Since Naruto had gotten back, Haku had rarely left his side. She went with him almost anywhere except for missions. When Naruto was on missions, Haku usually went and helped out around the hospital, which is what she was currently doing. She left the hospital at around the same time all the members of Team 7 went home for the day. That was what normally happened Monday through Saturday. Team 7 usually had a day off on Sunday. She would then accompany Naruto to a training ground after he was usually done, where she would help him train for the remainder of the day. Since they had gotten back, Haku had also kind of taken over Naruto's training schedule, and he made a few changes to it. Now instead of focusing on strength and slowing the enemy down, Naruto is now drastically working on his speed, along with modifying his fighting style slightly. Naruto-sama, Haku said after one of their high-speed duels, I noticed that your jutsu, that most of your jutsu are dragon-themed ice attacks. Ice-style Black Dragon Blizzard, Ice-style Twin Dragon Blizzard are examples of this. That's not totally true, Naruto replied. I also know Ice Crystal Mirrors, though I don't really like using it and I can't use it too well. And I also have Ice-style Nitrogen Breath and Ice-style and Ice-style Grand Frost Ball, Naruto replied. Well, that is true, Haku said. I think you should still try and learn more jutsu and ways outside of fighting with just Ice-style jutsu, Haku replied. Flashback end. Since then, Naruto had learned and created multiple wind and water style jutsus. He'd also bought a Kusanagi, or grass cutter sword, and started learning how to use that as well. Side note, the Kusanagi is the same blade that Sasuke used in canon, or that's what the type of blade is called. The one Orochimaru used was actually called the Kusanagi blade, but like the type of blade that Sasuke used in canon was a Kusanagi sword, which is the same one Naruto uses. So just imagine like Naruto using like Sasuke's sword. But anyway, back to the story. Along with getting a new sword, Naruto changed his clothes. He was now wearing frost blue Jonin style pants, taped at the shins with gray bandages. He was also wearing a gray short sleeve kimono shirt that went down just past his waist, and was tied at the waist with a gray obi, or sash. Over his arms, Naruto had on gray gloves that went up to his mid-bicep. The gloves were made of chiffon cloth, and had extremely small strands of chakra conducting metal woven in, allowing the gloves to conduct chakra extremely well while being really comfortable at the same time. As a finishing touch, Naruto had an earring in the shape of 2 eastern dragons, each one biting the other's tail, forming a ring. Hey, let go of me! Akira yelled in the distance. Naruto looked in the direction the yell came from, and shrugged. He knew who that was. It was Konohamaru. No doubt about it. Then he thought, not my circus, not my monkeys, and kept on moving. While Naruto did occasionally talk to Konohamaru and interacted with him, he purely believed that Konohamaru should learn to stick up for himself sometimes. Besides, he wouldn't actually get in that much trouble. I mean, he's the Hokage's grandson, right? Naruto thought. After a couple of minutes, he felt a reasonable amount of killing intent, coming from where he had heard Konohamaru's voice. But the thing was that surprised him was that he could actually feel the killing intent from this distance. Normally, unless someone was focusing their killing intent on a single person, it usually couldn't reach very far. But the fact that Naruto could feel it from this distance meant that whoever was exuding it had to be extremely powerful or be crazy. This warranted taking a closer look. Thanks to Naruto's new speed, he quickly arrived at the scene and suppressed his signature. The scene really surprised him. Due to his sensory abilities, Naruto was able to discern that the redhead was similar to him. The chibi, huh? Naruto thought. I have a feeling these exams are going to be very interesting. Time skip, beginning of the Forest of Death. Team 7 was standing outside their gate, waiting for the second exam to start. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are wondering why I skipped so far, it's because I can't really see anything like really different happening in the first exam. Anyway, back to the story. Okay guys, after we get into the forest, I'm gonna go search for a team with an Earth Scroll. I find I work better alone, and it'll be faster as well, Naruto stated, matter-of-factly. Sasuke said. Do whatever, Naruto, Sakura said, somewhat flippantly. Naruto just rolled his eyes at their behavior, and continued to wait for the gate to open. Time skip, 5 hours. Naruto stared down at the 5th team he was about to ambush. They were walking in triangular formation, forming a thin but durable layer of chakra on top of his skin. Naruto allowed his chakra to build up and change it into ice-natured. Then, the layer of chakra that Naruto was using to mask up the build-up of his chakra broke. As soon as it did, Naruto blitzed into action. In a millisecond, he went from high up in the treetops to right in between the Genin team he was ambushing. The chakra that had built up around him exploded outwards. All they heard before they blacked out was Naruto say, Ice Style, Pulse Bomb. Naruto sighed as his chakra levels returned to normal. He stayed still for about a minute while his muscles still unlocked. He then rummaged through the pouches of the people he just took out. An Earth Scroll, Naruto thought, as he pocketed the scroll. So far he collected 2 Earth Scrolls, 3 Heaven Scrolls. Well, let's find some more scapegoats, Naruto thought as he started to stride off into the forest. He'd used the team he ambushed as test subjects for his new jutsu, Ice Style Pulse Bomb. He'd use them to test out the flaws in the jutsu and the downsides and upsides of using it. The jutsu basically released a freezing cold blast of chakra in all directions that knocked anyone out in a 15-foot radius. Anyone from 15 to 30 feet away wouldn't be knocked out, but their muscles would lock up due to temperature shock, allowing them to easily be taken out after that. The only real downside to using the Ice Style Pulse Bomb was that his muscles severely weakened after their attack. Naruto was about to move when he felt a huge buildup of malevolent chakra in the direction of Team 7. Not good, Naruto thought, as he took off in the direction. About 15 minutes later, he arrived to see a severely beaten up and unconscious Sasuke and Sakura. I leave for what, 4 or 5 hours, and you go and get yourselves almost killed, Naruto thought, as he picked them both up, one over each shoulder. Man, I really do everything right here, Naruto thought, and he then took off towards the tower. Time skip, 5 days. Team 7 and the rest of the Genin were watching the preliminaries. The next fight, Naruto Uzumaki vs Rock Lee, Haite called. Yosh, Guy Sensei, I will make you proud, Lee said, leaping into the ring. Naruto followed at a more cautious pace. He was analyzing Lee's every move. It wouldn't do well to get cocky and lose now. When the fight started, Lee disappeared and reappeared right next to Naruto, performing the Leaf Hurricane kick. Naruto brought his arm up just in time to block the kick and then retaliated with a left hook, just clipping Lee. The fight continued on in a similar manner, them trading blows, but Naruto beating just a little bit faster. Then the course of the fight changed in an instant. Might Guy yelled out for Lee to take off the weights. When Lee took off his weights, Naruto started to take a beating. Even though he was going at full speed, Lee was a tiny bit faster. Then Lee started opening the inner gates. Naruto really started to get beaten into the ground. He got in a few blows here and there, but nowhere near the level Lee was dishing out. There is a way, Naruto thought, but it's risky. Then again, I have nothing to lose. He started to build up his chakra, and then finally after a few seconds, he started to build up his chakra, and then finally after a few seconds, Lee kicked into the wall and came in for another punch. Now, Naruto thought, before yelling out, "Ice Style! Pulse Bomb!" Unfortunately, Naruto miscalculated the distance between himself and Lee. Unfortunately for Naruto, it was farther than 15 feet. Lee took a fair amount of damage, but he wasn't knocked out. But now, Naruto couldn't move, and Lee was getting back up. The Ice Style Pulse Bomb forced Lee down from 5th gate back into 3rd gate. Interesting, Naruto thought. I'll have to look into that move a bit more. He then started taking another barrage of punches and kicks, courtesy from Lee. He did his best to defend against them, but he could only do so much as his muscles were covered from the Ice Style Pulse Bomb. Up in the stands. Why isn't he moving? Tenten asked. To no one in particular. Because he can't, Haku replied, capturing everyone who could hear the conversation's attention. Ice Style Pulse Bomb Jutsu puts an incredible strain on the muscles. Not because the muscles have to strain in order to put out a higher than normal amount of force. It is because when the jutsu is used, the muscles flex abnormally hard for a millisecond in order to push out all of the concentrated chakra that's stored in the muscles by the jutsu. In addition to that, the chakra is ice-natured, which means it's insanely cold, which gives the muscles a shock, causing them to relax suddenly. Dipping oneself into a cold substance after an intense workout relaxes the muscles. This jutsu has a similar effect, but that's the problem. Relaxing the muscles, weakening them for about a minute, meaning Naruto-sama can't really block or attack back for that time. Back with Naruto. 5. Punch, punch. 4. Kick. 3. Right hook to the face. 2. Block another kick. 1. Naruto thought. He then reached out with one of his fists and lashed out with chakra enhancing it. He hit Lee squarely in the jaw, lifting him off the ground and throwing him a ways away. Naruto then flashed through some hand seals. Horse, ox, dragon. I'm sorry, Lee, Naruto thought, but I have to ensure my victory. Nothing else. I really mean you no harm, and this isn't in any way me trying to hurt you, but I must win. Naruto thought as he inhaled. The last thing Lee heard before a ball of icy wind 4 feet in diameter smashed into him and was Naruto calling out, "Ice Style, Grand Frostball Jutsu." Naruto slightly smirked as his jutsu slammed into Lee. There really was nothing personal, but there would be no getting up from that for a long time. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki," Hayate called out. Naruto smiled and sat down heavily, thoroughly exhausted. In a flash, Haku appeared beside him. "Are you okay, Naruto-sama?" she asked. "Yes, but I can barely move," Naruto replied, as Haku helped him stand. "Well, this just means that you have to train more to reach your goal, Naruto-sama," Haku replied. "You are correct, Haku-chan," Naruto replied, causing Haku to blush slightly. Haku glanced over at Naruto and noticed he was unconscious. Naruto was really running on fumes at the end, Haku thought. The last move was kind of smart, if not desperate, kind of smart. "Good job, Naruto-kun," Haku replied, again slightly blushing. Anyway guys, thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.